Okay, this video is called "Is Dietitian School Fake?" And so what this came out of was this morning I was reading about dietary fats. And I came across this article where this lady here is a dietitian was recommending good fats and trying to tell you how good olive oil is for you. And don't get me wrong, she's just typical. I've met lots of dietitians in my life, and most of them are sort of trained to think the Mediterranean diet and ketogenic stuff is the best, which is completely stupid, but that's how they're trained. And to be fair, most MDs don't know anything about nutrition or toxicology. And you can make the argument, well, MDs are required to know a lot of other stuff. For dietitians, it's their job just to know nutrition. And there are some who know a lot. I've actually met some who are pretty bright and who have studied on their own, and they know a lot about nutrition, and they've got a lot of valuable experience. But I can tell you the majority of the ones I've met don't know much about nutrition. All over the internet, you'll see them promoting good fats. Whatever new slogan comes along, they promote it. And it kind of reminds me of like psychology, where the average psychologist can't tell you the difference between a man and a woman, but then they expect you to have respect for their advice about relationships between men and women. So you'll see them all over the internet promoting Mediterranean diet and olive oil. I used to talk to some of these dietitians, for example, at the Whole Foods grocery store. And I would be told, oh, they were taught high fructose corn syrup is good for you. It's actually no big deal. And I think where that comes from is a lot of the funding companies, these big food companies, junk food, processed food companies, they fund these dietitian schools. If you read T. Colin Campbell's book, one of his books, I read all of his books, there's this big thing of milk outside their nutrition lecture hall. That's pretty typical, or the lecture halls will be named after Pepsi or something like that. And I have seen a lot of so-called nutrition experts who are funded by big food and fast food companies, so I wouldn't take them too seriously. You can look that up for yourself. Okay, they also often go with every platitude, everything in moderation, alcohol in small amounts is good for you, the benefits of dairy and meat. Ask them about Kemper, Burkitt, Pritikin, McDougall, Campbell, Esselstyn. Ask them about, biochemistry, molecular biology, nutrition. They're not going to have much to say. So, like I said, I call the Mediterranean diet the antichrist of diets because it promises salvation and health, but it doesn't. It makes people sick. It's a big trick. Dairy is kind of screwed as the American population is changing to have more and more people who are lactose intolerant. It's always been a bad food, but now it's more acutely, rapidly unhealthy. I would invite any dietitian to ask me questions or to lecture at their school. I will never get invited because I know, and I've never been, despite the fact I know lots of them. Because there's also what I would describe. I've seen this in lots of medical fields. Is a loyalty to a protocol. And the protocols are written by somebody high up, typically, who knows the game and wants to keep the patient sick. There's no money in curing a patient. You make money off keeping them chronically sick and just managing their illness. We talked about this before. If you cure the patient, you lose the customer. Okay. So anyways, I just saw this one here today, and what it reminded me, because I know lots of them. A lot of them are pretty little ladies. And they're kind of cheerful with a big smile, and so they'll light up the room for some fat old sick guy when they walk in the door. But I'm jokingly reminded of little sirens. Oh, she's so cute and harmless, she couldn't be dangerous. Meanwhile, she's telling the guy to eat high fat, he's screwed. He plugs up his arteries, he's toast. So anyways, a little bit unfair, but I think the point is made. The unhealthy diet, you can look all over the internet, all these paleo, keto, Atkins, low-carb, carnivore promoters are all, selling the poor proles down the path to arterial occlusion, rapid aging, and stuff. So I just make this point that it's important to recognize you're on your own, okay? Your dietitian doesn't know anything about nutrition. Your MD doesn't know anything about nutrition. And nutrition and toxicology are the most important things. So it's about, T. Colin Campbell had said it, about the most valuable thing you could study is nutrition, and I would add toxicology because it's really intertwined with nutrition. And it's good to be up to date on current events too. That's a topic for another day.